Hi, this is Courtney. I was interested in making an iMovie to share with you about the collaborative efforts over the past 8 weeks with The Rock, Realm of Caring, and talk more about where this work is headed after tonight. First of all, this is some of the staff at the Realm of Caring, a nonprofit organization based in Colorado Springs, supporting over 30,000 clients throughout the United States and the world through their call center, website, patient portal, webinars, workshops, conferences, you name it. Heather Jackson's in the middle of this photo and is the CEO at The Rock. Her son Zakai is one of the first two success stories using CBD in 2012, and here is Zakai and Heather at a grow here in Colorado. I love that smile. So imagine what it must have been like for Heather and many other families back in 2012 when the news went viral and a grassroots movement started for those families seeking help around the world from cannabis. And they recognized the need to create a formal organization to not only collect research and data on individuals using cannabis products, but also to educate and advocate about this often misunderstood form of therapy. In July 2014, my husband and I moved to Colorado, and he began working with the Stanley brothers, who were responsible for growing a strain of cannabis high in CBD and low in THC called Charlotte's Web. At this time, I met Heather and her family, and I knew how special their work was with advocating for cannabis use for all families and all consumers. And again, their mission was to educate, advocate, and provide opportunity for all access to cannabis. So back in September of this year, when Professor Cutworth sent the syllabus for this course, I read through it and immediately thought of working on a project with The Rock. So I emailed Heather about the course. We spoke on the phone and we discussed 3 different initiatives they had on the table for the potential work. I was so excited, and I emailed Dr. Cutforth that night prior to class telling him about The Rock, and once I got the green light, those floodgates were open and I was ready to go. Last week, when we were trying to culminate and reflect back on the community-based research partnership over the last 8 weeks, I was speaking with Dr. Cutforth, and he asked about what if we could visually map or illustrate what each person or participant, myself and then The Rock, brings to the table, and how each of our assets weigh in on a seesaw or melons type scale. So I would say, depicting in this picture, that the realm of caring leverages more content and knowledge in the sense of cannabis and what they've been doing through lived experiences and firsthand knowledge. They've created this really strong and spirited community through grassroots movement. 5 years now of doing this and research and education, and they've learned a lot of lessons over their time. And again, that experience rings true to what they have today. And lastly, I think one of the most things I value is the personal and soulful connections that they have to this movement, but also to their community. They're very true to honoring the community and its needs. I, on the other hand, am a little bit of a lighter feather there up on the seesaw right initially. I'm a doctoral student with a specific skill set in curriculum and instruction with a focus on student-centered learning and project-based learning and creative curriculum development, and are some of my passions within CNI. I taught for 13 years in 6 different schools in 5 different cities internationally and here in the United States. Willingness and eagerness to collaborate with others, I think a strong listener and interested in learning new things, and mostly passionate about the Rock community and social justice work. I do believe that you need to put in your time and prove yourself through action. Action speaks louder than words, making things happen. And I do feel like my contributions over time will support the mission and vision of The Rock. And over time, my contributions will make a significant impact in The Rock mission and vision, in supporting the educational services and the research initiatives for everything that they do. It's something I deeply value and believe in. and therefore it's easy to work towards and support any kind of project that the ROC deems necessary. But specifically, curriculum organization and creation, content organization, creative approaches to learning content and academic context, and network of academia and University of Denver for that matter. When I think about our CBR partnership, the Realm of Caring brings the whole cake to the table, the whole wedding banquet, if you will. And aside from the content and knowledge, they also have honesty, transparency, collaborative initiatives. They're open to new ideas, they're risk takers, they're willing to disrupt, and they're making calculated decisions, thinking about how to best serve their community and really go after what matters to their community, and that community being on the right side there. I bring a different type of cake to the table, a C&I cake, if you will, with my knowledge and experience of creating courses, student-centered learning, best practices for teaching and learning. Also, I bring an outside perspective of organizing content for different learners, hoping to support their mission and vision initiatives. Also, I have a genuine interest, purpose, passion, and I also bring the DU community, which is how I connected with Cecil and eventually Kwame, and hopefully down the road other quantitative researchers as well as program evaluators possibly. And those are my ongoing projects, which I'll tell a little bit more in detail next. I used Understanding by Design to create a curriculum map based off of the ROC's 45-minute webinar. That's a 10,000-foot view introduction to cannabis. A lot of big topics and ideas that could be unpacked into smaller lessons, certainly in the future or in a course that could be developed. So this initial map organizes the content in their webinar. This is Nicole, and she is the face and one of several geniuses behind the Talk Nerdy to Me series. These are professionally recorded 2 to 4 minute video clips about a very specific cannabis topic, like what are cannabinoids or what is the endocannabinoid system in your body. The idea is to reach a broad audience of consumers and even medical practitioners to find or to provide accurate information. There's a list of ongoing topics, some that were added as a result of the curriculum mapping. And the idea on the YouTube text box would be provided downloadable infographic that organizes the content from the video to create a bridge of knowledge from the layman, the consumer, with the doctor or medical expert. And there will also be a link to research articles that point to where you can look up this information and accurate reference, as well as a survey for feedback, how it's going. So when designing this infographic, we wanted it to show a connection of consumers of all types with medical practitioners of all types. Right now we're waiting for the second iterations to be drawn up after giving the artist the initial feedback from this. Lastly, when developing the curriculum map, I kept thinking, what are the standards for learning about cannabis? There are standards for all types of learning, and in the Common Core we see standards for math and reading. So why not have cannabis content standards for consumers or medical practitioners, various learners? There are no widely adopted cannabis or medical marijuana standards, so how can the ROC best create and develop cannabis content knowledge standards for different communities? My future is bright, my friends. I will be continuing this work over break, but most certainly in 4981 winter term with Dr. Cutforth. Continuing these projects with the ROC, especially with the standards, potential course development, who knows. I'm interested in interviewing the professors that currently teach cannabis-related courses in the DU Law School and Business School, and continuing with potential dissertation topics. And lastly, I'm looking forward to time these next 6 weeks to read, to create, to collaborate, write, listen, and to dream big. I want to quickly thank my community partner Heather for Skyping in from the Springs, and thank Kwame for coming. I know I'll see a lot more of them in December. I want to thank my COP for listening and offering advice along the way. And lastly, for Dr. Cutforth for offering this course this term. It has definitely changed my perspective on everything.